If you want to trash talk the Detroit Lions, just keep checking the standings. Check the standings.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, here we go, everybody. It's another week of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Matt Derry with you. Today is Monday, December 9th, and Tuesday, December 10th. Thanks for making this your first listen, everybody. Thanks for watching us and following us wherever you get your podcasts. Checking us out again on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. We appreciate you at our highest rated and our most watched YouTube show ever. We've been on YouTube almost 2-3 years now. Over 26,000 views of Friday's show. We talked about the Packers fans and certain other Packers hosts whining about the Lions win on Thursday night and using the officials as an excuse. Locked On Lions today is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL. Use the code all lowercase LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. Got to give a shout out to our everydayers who watch and listen to the podcast daily here. That includes big list of everydayers today. Our man, Robert Banker. Robert is the proprietor of Gaines Media. So when I try to talk about Alex Anzalone and I refer to him as Gaines Media poster boy, that is because Robert is infatuated with Alex. Robert runs something called Gaines Media. I don't even really know what Gaines Media is, but that's hence the Alex Anzalone reference of Gaines Media poster boy. Now you know. Robert's an everydayer. Got to give a hello to Tom and Tommy Moriarty, our boy Rhino O'Connor, Steve Tyson, thank you. Heard from the legendary Ashley Impellizzeri the other day. Thank you, Ash, for watching the show every day. Her husband watches. Her mom listens. Thank you to the Impellizzeri family. Or Impellizzeri family, excuse me. Nick Houts, Jeremy Wybenga, Joseph Sharp, our boy Evil Genius, who is all over social media, AJ Slaughter, Ryan Dolly, Russell Strickler, and also a hello to a new listener, Ryan Frush, Northville's finest. Dude can kick a football. But thank you for watching, listening to the podcast every day. We got to talk about what's going on right now with everything across the country with the Lions and all of this backlash against Detroit over the last couple of days, which makes absolutely no sense. We will update you on the injuries from last week. We'll talk about the NFC North, which continues to be really, really good. The Vikings don't lose. Minnesota doesn't lose. And we have a call of the day as well, which you can be a part of. If you want to be call of the day, go to speakpipe.com, our voicemail system, speakpipe.com/Dairy podcast page, and you can be our call of the day. Lions win last Thursday over the Packers. They get a little bit of rest, some days off. Now, big game coming up Sunday, 4:25. Buffalo comes in. The Bills yesterday got into an Arena League game with the Rams and lost 44-42, which was crazy. Crazy game yesterday out in LA. Bills couldn't stop the Rams. The Rams couldn't stop the Bills. Josh Allen becomes the first NFL quarterback in history to throw for 3 scores and run for 3 scores in the same game. Bills going to be licking their wounds and a little angry coming to Ford Field on Sunday. Not going to be an easy game. We'll talk to Locked On Bills host Joe Marino on Thursday when we do the crossover. Crossover's back on Thursday this week. Last 2 weeks, of course, we've done them on Wednesday due to the games being on Thursday. All right, so many of you have read it. Many of you have been listening. Many of you are on social media and see all these videos. But for the last few days, many national prognosticators, experts, whatever you want to call them, people are taking off on the Lions and Dan Campbell. Robert Lee Parker from Fox Sports Radio. I've known Rob 30 years, 25 years. Rob Parker says Dan Campbell's a bad coach and Brandon Staley was better. Okay. Teddy Bruschi on ESPN says he's reckless with his game calls. Ryan Clark says, I don't know what Dan Campbell's doing at the end of games, but he shouldn't be going for it. He should be kicking the field goal. And oh, by the way, Ryan Clark says, I like the Lions, but Philly's better. All right, the list goes on and on. Byron Murphy Jr. of the Vikings, the cornerback. What were his quotes again? He's tired of hearing about the Lions. I just keep hearing it over and over. I'm just over them. You know, Detroit, they're just talking about them too much, and I'm just over them. Well, Byron, when you had a chance to beat them earlier in the year, you lost. Hold it. Take it. Caress it. Baby, you lost. And the Vikings are playing really good football. Really good football. They don't lose. I mean, the Vikings are ridiculous how they're playing right now. Sam Darnold yesterday, what is going on in this world that Sam Darnold is throwing for 5 touchdowns, scrambling, moving the pocket? The Vikings, they just find a way every single week. And we're going to talk about the NFC North in a second, but Minnesota's only a game behind the Lions at 11-2. But all these people are hating on Detroit, and a lot of it is based off the fact that on Thursday night against the Packers in a tie ball game, Dan Campbell on 4th and 1 decided to go for it rather than kicking the field goal, and everybody's up in arms and saying it was reckless and foolish. Folks, guess what? Holly Campbell's husband leads a team that has the best record in football. All they do is win. They win every week. They've won 11 in a row. Haters versus results. I'll take results. What's the object of the game? I can't believe I'm doing this on my show. What is the object of the football game? On Sundays, on Thursdays, on Mondays, coming up on Saturdays. What's the object of the game? Anybody? What are you all saying at home right now? What are you saying in your car right now? Come on, Derry, spit it out. It's to win. The object is to win. So when the Kansas City Chiefs win every close game, everybody says, well, it's just the Chiefs. They're bored with the regular season. When the Lions just win a close game, it's, well, they won, but that coach is reckless. That coach isn't as good as Brandon. He's worse. He's a bad coach. And look, I'm friends with Rob Parker. I'm not going to do a Rob Parker rant. Okay. I'm just using Rob as an example. Teddy Bruschi from ESPN, Ryan Clark, Colin Cowherd last week. Same thing. Reckless, foolish. He's going to cost them. Coaches all make mistakes. There isn't a coach that is coached that hasn't made an error. Bill Belichick won 7 Super Bowls, whatever it was. At the end, he was horrible. Get rid of him. Patriots couldn't wait to get rid of him. That's the greatest to ever do it. Dan Campbell won the game the other day. He saw what took place the Sunday before in Minnesota when Arizona coach Jonathan Gannon, up 3, kicked a field goal to go up 6. Everybody hated it. Everybody said it was wrong. It did not work. Why? Because they lost. The Vikings got the ball, went right down the field, scored a touchdown. The Vikings won. The Cardinals lost. Everybody said, well, to see Dan Campbell wouldn't have done that. He would have gone for it. He would have gone for the jugular. Get to 7 points. Then you're up 10. Then you have to worry. Fast forward 4 days, 5 days, whatever. Lions, Packers, and everybody's against what Dan Campbell did and saying it's reckless and foolish to go for it. His quarterback, Jared Goff, reportedly told Dan, I'm begging you, let's go for it here. Let's go for it here. Goff wanted to do it too. And yes, if David Montgomery would have been stopped, the Packers would have had a shorter field and a chance to go win, and everybody can just call Dan Campbell dumb. But guess what? It worked. The result, it worked. The result, the field goal, the result, the win. 34-31. What are we doing here? Here's an organization that is doing nothing over the last 2 years but winning. And we got national people going, oh, that kneecap biter's at it again. He's reckless. He's going to cost his team with all these stupid decisions. They've played 13 games. They've won 12. Put that in your pipe and smoke that. Come on. If Dan Campbell would have kicked the field goal, like all these people are saying he should have done, and the Packers came down, let's say they tied it, get the coin toss, and score a touchdown, what would the national people be saying? Oh, it was Dan Campbell. He should have maybe gone for it there and not put the ball back in Jordan Love's hands. It's just noise. And what I love about the Lions and Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes and everybody in that front office and that staff, they don't listen to it. This is the formula that has won this football team they won 14 games last year if you count the playoffs, 12 this year. 26 games in 2 years. We've never seen that. Yeah, your great-grandfather might be alive to tell you about 1957, or maybe even your grandfather. Teams never won 11 in a row. They've never started off 12-1. We're seeing history made here, and you got blowhards out there going, wrong move, reckless. I'm not having it. They won on Thursday. The Packers lost. Don't tell me about haters. Tell me about results. Well, maybe he makes a mistake this week. Maybe it costs him the game. I'll be the first to take him to task on Sunday's show. But, man, what is going on? Stupid. They won the game. It was the right call. They won. Well, you can't do that in the postseason. Well, let's get there and see. And Locked On Lions brought to you by our friends at Hillsdale College. Time is our most precious commodity. Don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? How about getting some classes in with our sponsor at Hillsdale College? They're offering more than 40 free, that's correct, free online courses that include Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Great American Story, A Land of Hope, and so much more. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced, so you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register, hillsdale.edu/lockedon. And hey, we got Monday Night Football tonight, Dallas and Cincinnati. Does it get any better? Well, guess what? How about Prize Picks? You can play Prize Picks tonight. If you love watching the game, you're going to love Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy, whether it's football, basketball, or any of your favorite sports. Prize Picks makes your holidays bigger and brighter. Here's why you need to check it out. You can now win up 200 times your money on Prize Picks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30 million in rewards during Picksmas and offering 2 free picks, in December. When your picks hit, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. Tonight, you're looking to go over or more than or less than, let's say, Joe Burrow passing yards, 200 yards. You can do that. 250. You can do that at Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly when you play just $5. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, back with you on Locked On Lions. Matt Derry with you. Thanks for making us your first listen, checking us out wherever you get your podcast, working on a guest for tomorrow. Crossover on Thursday. Lions and Bills is going to be a great game Sunday. 425. Buffalo, their defense had an off day yesterday against the Rams. And, man, Matthew Stafford, 10 touchdowns, no picks in his last, I think it's 4 games. Dude is balling out and playing very, very well. All right, a lot of people know what's going on. I want to know what's going on with the injuries. Let's get you a quick update. Dan Campbell did speak about some of his injured players this morning as the Lions get set for another week of practice. As far as Taylor Decker and his knee is concerned, the Lions left tackle did not play in last Thursday night's win over the Packers. It was the Dan Skipper show instead. And Dan was a little sick after the game, if you saw the video in the locker room. Dan Campbell said today, I'm feeling better about Decker. So hopefully he returns to the lineup this week after missing the last 2 weeks. Levi Onwuzurike, hamstring injury, did not play Thursday against the Packers. Dan Campbell saying today there's a chance Levi could be back. Campbell did not speak on DJ Reader, who missed Thursday's game with a shoulder injury. Aleem McNeil in concussion protocol right now. Campbell, quote, Max got a pass, concussion protocol and everything. He did not take a step back. So as long as he can clear, that sounds positive. That is a good sign. No update today on Josh Paschal and his knee. We'll have to see. Brian Branch, for those of you that saw when he left the game on Thursday, that was just cramping. So that's a good sign. Jalen Reeves-Maybin suffered a neck injury back in week 9. Dan Campbell on Reeves-Maybin today. Jalen is better, but it's just slow going right now. I don't really know where he could be. There's a chance we could get him in a few weeks. There's a chance we don't. That would suck, not getting Jalen Reeves-Maybin back. Emmanuel Mosley sounds like he'll play this week, so that's good. So we'll have to see about that. The Lions, regardless of all of the injuries that they've had, especially on their defense, just keep finding ways, man. Just keep finding ways to win. And you got to give credit to Aaron Glenn. And how about some credit, too, to the pro personnel department, the folks that are doing the scouting of other NFL teams and go to other NFL games on Brad Holmes' staff. Those guys have done a tremendous job finding players off practice squads, guys that have been elevated, whether it was Quan Alexander, Jonah Williams, etc. Pretty darn cool, the players, David Long, all these guys that have come in and had to have played. That's a good job by that player personnel and pro personnel department of the Lions. Remember, for years, the Lions had every family member in the pro personnel department, friends of family, friends of the Fords. Not anymore. Lions have a really, really solid front office. All right, I mentioned it before. Minnesota again wins yesterday. The Vikings now have won 6 in a row, sit at 11-2. They're 6-1 at home, and their point differential, only the Lions and the Eagles have a better point differential in the NFC. Vikings now at a plus 99 after they take care of business yesterday and knock off the Falcons 42-21. So yes, while they've played during this win streak, some weak opponents, Colts, Jags, and Titans, Bears, Cardinals, who are pretty good, and the Falcons, who I'm not buying. Kirk Cousins, I don't know what's going on there. And the Vikings get the Bears for Monday Night Football this coming next week. Minnesota still has to go to Seattle, still has to host the Packers, and still has to come to the Lions for the final game of the regular season. Who knows when that game could be? That game could be flexed to a night game. But here's the thing, all right? We saw how good Green Bay is. And whether you want to rip on Peter Bukowski and rip on Packers fans and all that stuff, Green Bay's good. That's a good football team. The Lions swept. All right? They're damn good. And at 9-4, are going to be a playoff team. And the Lions, I think, are going to see the Packers again. I think we're going to see Green Bay maybe coming to Ford Field a third time based on how seeding goes and if they get the 6th seed and if they spring upsets and everything else. We might be seeing Lions-Packers in round 2 if the Lions get that bye. So of course, Philly is also 11-2 like the Vikings and the Lions. But you look at the division. Lions 12-1. Winners of 11 in a row. Minnesota 11-2. Sam Darnold having an unbelievable season. Probably an MVP discussion here for Goff, for Saquon, for Josh Allen, and for Sam Darnold. Green Bay 9-4. When was the last time we could talk about the NFC North this glowingly? Packers point differentials plus 75. Packers believe, with all the injuries that they've had, Jair Alexander didn't play this past week. They think they should have beaten the Lions. Look, they lost, but man, this division's good. Think about Minnesota and maybe, Byron Murphy Jr., the cornerback, has a point. He's tired of hearing about the Lions. Sorry, the Lions have won 11 straight games, Murph. Sorry. But yes, the Vikings need to be discussed because Kevin O'Connell, Brian Flores, they've done a great job. Great job. But when you're in second place at 11-2, you're not going to get the kind of publicity that the 12-1 team was getting. But man, the division is tough. And the Lions game in a few weeks at Chicago is not going to be easy. And that game, week 18 against the Vikings, is going to be tough too. Because of this, the way Darnold and Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, that defense, how they're playing is impressive. And man, Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins just got out of bed from his nap and threw an interception just now. All right, coming up next, let's do the business. A call of the day. We will do that next right here on a Monday. Locked On Lions. Folks, you want to put some money down on the Bengals and the Cowboys tonight? Only one place to do it, and that is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. FanDuel is awesome. All right, visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. By the way, before I get to call of the day, can I just give a shout out to Game Time, who is our sponsor for sports tickets and whatever tickets you want. Use the Game Time app. Yesterday, I'm going to take my son to Indiana Notre Dame next Friday night for college football playoffs. I'm not going to tell you what I spent because I'm going to be broke, but let me tell you something. Game Time was great. Appreciate them, and go Hoosiers. All right. Call of the day. Of course, you can be our call of the day by going to speakpipe.com/dairy podcast page. Robert Brown checks in also from out of state. Seems like every call of the day is from out of state. Here is our call of the day.
Hey, Matt, this is Robert in Arizona. I'm an everydayer. Was wondering if you could run a wellness check for our friend Pete Bukowski from Locked On Packers. Last I checked, he was in his fancy sweater having a meltdown. Not sure he's okay, so maybe we need to check in on him. Thanks.
Thank you, Robert Brown. Poor Pete. If you missed Friday's show, we played some of the audio. Peter Bukowski still very angry over that pick play at the end of the Lions-Packers game that went against the Packers and took a touchdown to Josh Jacobs off the board. Lions, of course, ran a similar play on an out route to St. Brown and were not called for a pick play. Those were not great calls, all right? But Pete and much of Packer Nation up in arms, saying they were robbed Thursday night as the Lions won and the Packers lost, and that it was all the officials' fault. The Green Bay defense allowed 34 points. Come on now. 4th and 1, all you had to do was stop David Montgomery, and he didn't do it. But yes, wellness check on Peter Bukowski. Robert, thank you for calling in on that. Here's the bottom line, folks. People like Pete, and I'm a Pete Bukowski fan. That's my boy. Pete took it a little bit too far last week with his screaming about the officials. But Packers fans, and you're hearing the Vikings players, people can't handle this. They cannot take it that the darlings of the NFL, America's team, is none other than your Honolulu Blue and Silver Gladiators, the Detroit Lions. Can't take it. They can't take it. Oh, but they only won by 3. They got a bunch of calls. They got lucky and Dan Campbell. They just keep winning. They're stacking wins, stacking them. When they blow people out, no one says a word. When they go into Minnesota, spot the Vikings like 10 points right away, come back and win. When they go to Houston, right, that's a division leader. Spot the Texans, whatever it was, 14, 17 points, come back and win. No one says anything. When they win some close games, which it's the NFL, it's pretty even across the board here. People are, results, man. I said at the start of the show, this team and what they are doing is absolutely incredible. With the amount of guys out on the defense especially, and this week's not going to be easy. All right, Josh Allen is playing lights out. Bills are really good. So we'll have to wait and see. But thank you for being our call of the day. Robert, yes, Pete Bukowski's fine. He's going to be okay. The Packers are going to make the playoffs. Who knows? Maybe they'll come to Ford Field again at the corner of Brush and Adams, and we will see them again. How about Matthew Wright last night from the Chiefs, their third kicker that they've used this year with Butker hurt and Schrader hurt. Matthew Wright doinks in the game-winning field goal. Matthew Wright, a member of the kicker list, 2021. Don't forget, the Lions had Matthew Wright and Randy Bullock at the beginning of the Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell era. Remember the kicker list. Doinking in for the division, as Mike Tirico said last night on NBC. All right, folks, stay with us for the rest of the week here on Locked On Lions. Joe Marino from Locked On Bills will join us for Thursday's crossover. We are back again tomorrow.